Namaskar and good afternoon. So this afternoon I'll be about the care and conservation of photographic material. As Achalji said, photography is my passion and I am practicing photography for a very long time. And I was working with National Research Laboratory for Conservation and Cultural Property for quite long time. I got retired in 2014. And when I was NRLC is mainly concerned with the conservation of the different cultural property, and we used to get some rare photographs also for the conservation. And since my main responsibility was there to make the prepare the photo documentation of the objects, but as photography is my passion, I got involved in the conservation of photography also. So the experience which I had at NRLC, I'll be sharing with you. Photographic images. A part of the photographic images, some of the photographic images are very part of our cultural heritage and national treasure. Just like this photograph of Taj Mahal taken in 1870. Photography is being used in mainly in two ways. Firstly, photography as a medium of documentation. Where we use the photography as the medium of documentation, these photographs gives information about the thing, person, place or event. It provides authentic information when photography is being used as the medium of documentation. But what happened, a part of these photographic documentation, a very small part, maybe sometimes have become the part of our historical concern, and these photographs can be put as the historical document. I'm showing you two examples over there. First, this is when first time human being landed on the surface of moon. Neil Armstrong was the first human being in 1969. This photograph is not merely a documented photograph. It has become the historical document, not for the United States of America, but for the entire world. Another photograph, you all know this is the World Trade Center, and when terrorists attack on the World Trade Center, on the first twin buildings, and this photographic image is not having the value as a photographic record. It is the historical document. So such type of the photograph we have. In the Indian context, I'll be sharing with you. On the left hand, December 16, 1971, Dhaka, when Lieutenant General Jagdish Singh Arora, watching as Pakistani General A.K.K. Niazi signs the Treaty of Surrender of the Pakistani Army. And it was the first time in the history of world that a army, fully armed, equipped army surrendered to another country. And this photograph is having a tremendous importance as we Indians, but more or less it has become our heritage. And on the right hand side, the first flag hosting of the country by first Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. And the lower one, 1948, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru is announcing Mahatma Gandhi's death. This photograph was taken by Henry Cartier-Bresson. So such types of the photographs are, we can put them as the historical documents. And I'll be sharing with you some of the important or iconic photographs. This photograph was taken by, these are the great war photographs taken by Robert Capa, Death of a Soldier. In the Spanish Civil War, in 1936, a bullet was pierced in the forehead of the soldier, and at that particular time this photograph was taken. Instant reaction, decisive movement was captured. Another picture, this is very famous picture of the Vietnam when the Nepean bomb was exploded there, and that was the condition of the people of Vietnam. Another very famous iconic war grade photograph. This is also a historical photograph when Muhammad Ali, previously Cassius Clay, defeated the Sonny Liston. Nobody could think that Sonny Liston will be defeated by any human being, but it was done in the very first round. And Sonny Liston is lying on the floor, and Muhammad Ali is roaring. And this photographic image is a historical document, not only a photographic documented record. Another way in which photography is being used, photography as the medium of fine art. Photography is not only the most powerful medium of recording and documentation, it is also unique and creative medium of self-expression, besides being one of the youngest fine art today. Photography is youngest fine art. When we talk about the paintings are prehistoric. We used to find cave paintings which may be 35,000 years old. In that sense, we can say photography came into existence to the ordinary person in 1839. So not a very old medium. That's why it's a youngest medium of fine art. Now, when medium of fine art, it is a unique and creative medium of self-expression, just like painting, sculpture, graphics, and installation, and whatever it is. I'll be sharing some of the images which used to come in the category of art. Every photograph cannot be a work of art, just like every painting cannot be a work of art. These are the very famous photographs on the left hand side by legendary photographer Benu Sen, and on the left side Benu Sen, on the right side Sushanta Banerjee. They are very popular work of photographic art. Another image which comes into the category of fine arts. This is a photogram by a very famous photographer. He is no more with us, Mr. K.G. Maheshwari. This was my picture. So, we have come on the conclusion. Before that, I would rather like to say, in this century, one of the principal archival record is in the form of photographs. And full importance to this photographic record as the historical document has been given by the archival community. So, we have photographs in our archives and library as the historical document, right? And on the other hand, we are having photographs in our museums and art galleries as the work of art. So, in both ways, these iconic photographic images are part of our cultural heritage, and we should know how to prolong their life, how to take care of these iconic photographic images, and this presentation is all about that. Yes, of course, those photographs are an important part of our cultural heritage, and it is our prime responsibility to safeguard it. Now, I'll be talking about the care and conservation of photographic images. As far as conservation is concerned, you all must be knowing, you are the students of conservation, that there are two types of the conservation: preventive conservation and curative conservation. And as far as preventive conservation is concerned, I consider it is the most important. Preventive conservation is most important. Preventive conservation is easy and simple to perform. Preventive conservation, if preventive conservation is taken care of, curative conservation won't be needed at all. Preventive conservation is very cost effective. You need very few things, very few paraphernalia to perform the preventive conservation, and it is very well said that prevention is better than cure. On the other hand, curative conservation, very difficult to perform. It is very time-taking process. It requires experience and precision, and it's a costly affair. You need so many things to perform the curative conservation. So we should always keep it in mind that preventive conservation is very, very important, and if we take care of preventive conservation, curative won't be needed. Photographic images, broadly we have color images, color photographs, and the black and white photographs. Color photographs are having a very short span of life because image is made of the organic dyes, and organic dyes in its nature itself is a not very permanent thing. So color image used to decay and die slowly, very soon. Color photographs used to fade very fast. As far as black and white photograph is concerned, is a long lasting, because in black and white photographs, the black image is made of the silver tiny grains. It's a deposition of silver tiny grains, and we all know the silver is the precious metal. It can be kept for a very long time. So black and white photographs, cellulose, gelatin, silver, black and white photographs are the true archival photographic images. We always remember this. The lifespan of color photographs are very short, and in the environmental condition of our country, it's hot and humid. The fading will be much more faster than the European or the cold countries. This is a comparison. A color photograph of Qutub Minar displayed, and some black and white photograph of some excavation were displayed in the same environmental condition. But you can see the deterioration, the fading is remarkable in the color photograph. On the other hand, black and white photographs are quite in good condition. Causes of deterioration, which I'll be discussing with you, is the physical factor. Second is due to the faulty processing. Third is due to the faulty storage and display. And another due to adverse atmospheric condition, and due to light, due to microorganisms and insect. This is the broad classification of the agencies which can harm our photographic collection. Physical factor, age of the material. Nothing is world is immortal and will come later or sooner. It depends upon many things. Just for the human life, if we are taking a nourishing diet, we are exercising, we are taking good care of our human body, it may last for the longer period of time. On the other hand, if we are taking junk food and doing all wrong things, the lifespan may be smaller. It is just like same with our cultural heritage. If we are taking good care of it, we can increase the lifespan of our cultural heritage. And second important thing is the handling. How we are handling these artifacts, these photographic images. Less handling will causing less harm. More handling will be causing more harm to the photographic images. We should always remember it. That's why it is said these images are always very safe when in the storage. It should be as less handled as required. Second important thing is proper handling. How to handle it. Sometimes it used to sound it's very small thing how to handle photograph, what is so special about it, but sometimes the small things are most important than the big things. Faulty handling causes scratching, crimping, creasing, staining, and irreversible damage. When we are handling the photograph bare hands, we may transfer our body oil and salt on the surface of the photographs. And when in humid condition, when the relative humidity is high, that particular portion will absorb water more than the other portion, and it will deteriorate the photographs. These are some of the physical condition some examples I am showing you. This is a very old photograph. It was mounted on a mount, paper mount. But here the quality of paper mount is very bad. It is highly acidic in nature, and this acidity ultimately will transfer on the surface of the photograph and further destroy it. On the second photograph, on the right hand side, you can see the photograph was possession in some agency, and somebody, when they saw that the physical condition of this photograph is not good and some portion is peeling off, coming off from the surface, they applied the sellotape on it with the intention that it will safeguard the photograph. But I'm sorry, no, it will further deteriorate the photographs. The sellotape, the gum it is having, it is highly acidic in nature, and it will deteriorate that portion of the photograph very, very fast. So we should always take care of these things. This fading, this is the severe fading, example of the severe fading, insufficiently washed, kept in hot and humid environment. As far as physical damage is concerned, this is a very, very famous picture of the Ansel Adams. Ansel Adams is said to be the father of landscape photography. This particular picture, which is titled as the Moonlight, maximum copies of this iconic image were sold on the very, very high price. And even that important photograph got physically injured. You can see a vertical crack. So we should always take a good care where handling or transporting these photographic images, especially the larger photographic images. These are some peculiar examples of the physical damage. The picture on the left hand side, it was framed, and in the rainy season, when the relative humidity was high, photographic paper used to absorb the moisture and used to expand in size. But as it is restricted, the photograph was framed, it restricted it is expanding in size. So the crockleness will come, and the points which are in the contact of the glass, there will be some aberration and the image will be lost. So here you can see here the photographic images from these points due to abrasion was lost. And another very typical example, this photograph was pasted on plywood, and when the RH was high, plywood absorbed some of the moisture and expanded in the size, and photograph also absorbed some moisture, but the expansion of size of the plywood was much more than the photographic image. And how tremendous cracking caused due to this factor. Another picture, again the physical damage, folds, fading, bleaching, poor image quality. It is all due to the physical mishandling and the physical factor. Now you can see on the left hand side the termite attack. For termite, food is there, cellulose is there because paper is there, and gelatin is there. Gelatin is very fine quality protein, so it is a very delicious food for the insects or the microorganisms, and you can see the tunnel and the excreta of the termite on the surface of the photograph. And another picture, I used to call it is the physical abuse. The photographic image is so badly affected that sometimes it is difficult to recognize whether it is photograph or some modern painting or drawing. This is very improper handling. Always, we should not, our important photographic record which comes in the category of cultural heritage, we should not handle it bare-handed. And one hand should not be used for the large photographic prints. If we are using only one hand, this semicircular cracks can be caused over there. We should always use both the hands. These are the small things, but very, very important thing. And these are the proper way of handling. We should always wear the light, tight, white cotton gloves and then handle the photograph, or we should give a firm support when we are carrying photograph from one place to another place. As far as negative and slides are concerned, they are more delicate than the photographic prints, so extra care should be taken when we are handling the negatives and the slides. What happened? Sometimes we mount a photograph on a mount to give more physical strength, because the thickness of photograph is very small, so it can easily be damaged when mishandling. So we used to give extra support in the form of some mount, and the material of this mount, we should take extra care in selecting. The mount is 100% rag tissue or alpha cellulose. No impurity should be there, no lignin should be there. And sometimes what we do while printing a photograph, we give extra border, just like in this photograph, the white border. So if in case we are handling it bare hand, we'll be not touching the photographic image, we'll be touching the white border which is not having an image. So these are the small things which can be taken care of. Now sometimes we may notice there are some foreign excretion or deposition on the photographs. The best way to clean it by the soft flat brush with the gentle strokes. Using some chemicals, mild or strong, these are the expert's job. One should not try to perform it. You may further damage your photograph. But when we should start from the mild solvents, just like water, sodium carbonate solution, methylated spirits. But there are many factors. We should first examine our photographic collection which we are going to clean. If, for example, I'll take one example. If you notice that it is infected by, it is having the fungal infection, it should never be cleaned with water, because fungus makes gelatin water soluble. So these are many other factors also. Some strong solvents are the carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, etc. But these are the last resort to apply, and we should always remember this is the expert's job. Now I'll be sharing with you two photographs, the color photographs. These are the fading due to the faulty processing. If you go into the market, and you will find some color labs are cheaper, they are giving you color prints in the less price, and some color labs are expensive. For example, the Kodak Q labs used to be little expensive, but the color processing are very good. So if you have two prints, one you get it printed from the ordinary color lab, which gives you in the less price, and other from the good color lab, and in the due course of time, when we see, the color fading will be much more faster in the print which you get it from the cheaper lab, because they used to substandard and exhausted chemical they used to use. In a kit, if for example 1 liter of the solution, if it is recommended the 100 prints of the 4 by 6 inches should be processed, they used to develop 200 prints. So they use the substandard solution for the chemical process, and improper pH of the solution. This is very important factor in the color printing. The pH value should be spot on. There is always a less quality control in the cheaper lab. So these are the factors which can determine the life of the color image. Now, faulty processing in the black and white images or photographs. You must have noticed some of your old family photographs turning into little yellowish brownish. Have you noticed ever? Yes. So I'll be discussing what is the main problem here. Improper developing and fixing, inappropriate washing. I have told you in the beginning, a black and white photograph image is made of tiny metallic silver grains. These two images, the first image, the eye was enlarged, and in the third image, it is further enlargement of the small portion of eye. And you can see the granular structure. These are the small grains of the metallic silver. What happened when photographic image was not processed or washed properly, and I'm not going to explain the whole black and white processing because it will be entirely different subject and will take a lot of time. Finally, after developer, we use a chemical which is called the hypo, sodium thiosulfate. It stops the reaction instantly there. But after this hypo or fixing, this is called fixing, there should be thorough washing of the photographic print. The residual hypo should be completely washed from the surface of the photographs. If it is not happen, then in the due course of time and when the weather condition were adverse, what will happen? I have told you in black and white photograph, the image is made up of the silver grains, silver metal. This silver will convert into the silver thiosulfide, and the yellowish brownish image which you see, it is silver thiosulfide. Black and white image is silver, and this yellowish brownish is silver thiosulfide. The formation of the silver thiosulfide, which is yellow brown, if we allow to remain the condition like this, and in the extreme adverse condition, what will follow further? The formation of the silver sulfate. Silver sulfate is the white powdery substance, and at this stage that will fall off from the surface. And in this photograph, here you can see all three images. This is silver, this is silver thiosulfide, and this is silver sulfate. It has left the surface of the photographic images. From here we cannot come back. It is not reversible. From here we can come back. So a good housekeeping is very, very important as far as photographic images are concerned. Now, what may be the remedies? Of course, the get color material processed and printed from the standard reputed labs, just like Kodak Q labs. Adequately wash black and white films and prints after fixing. Although this black and white printing is not in very much practice now, because we are getting the prints, digital prints, right? There are different ways of getting it. So in the olden times, we used to get the hypo test solution just to check if some residual hypo is there on the surface of photographs or not. Or even we use some chemicals as the hypo eliminator. And the very common example of that, the solution of sodium carbonate in the water. Now about the storage and display. We should store our photographic images in the chemically safe place and enclosures. Controlled temperature. As when we talk about the temperature, it is more important for color photograph. If temperature is high, the rate of fading will be much high. The recommended temperature is 20 degrees Celsius, but the ideal temperature is the minus 18 or 20 degrees Celsius, which may be achieved, but there are some other factors. I'll be taking care of that. Now the control relative humidity. This is again very important factor. And for black and white photograph, relative humidity is more important than the color photograph. Above 60% for the longer period of time is a very dangerous condition. That's why on the coastal areas, it is very difficult to safeguard the photographic images. We should always remember it. The recommended relative humidity is 30 to 50%, but ideal is 20 to 30%. Now I'm showing two photographic images. In the color photograph, we have got three layers: yellow, magenta, and cyan. And here, yellow and cyan layers have gone. Only magenta layer is there. Fading of color organic dyes is very fast, as I have told you, when stored in the high temperature and the brighter illumination level. When the illumination of the light where you are displaying your photograph is high, the fading will be much more fast. If the temperature is more, fading will be much more. And as I have told, the color photograph is made up of three layers: yellow, magenta, and cyan. Yellow and cyan layers used to fade first and fast. Here is the example. The other photograph, it was kept in the control condition. What were the control condition? The low temperature and the dark storage. There was no light at all. Means in the storage, in the control storage, it was kept. Fading will be there, of course, but fading will be very, very slow in comparison of the other condition. And here you can see the condition of as far as the color radiation of the photograph is concerned, it is very nice. So temperature in light, these are the two factors which are very important for the color images. Now, when the relative humidity high, for example 60% or more, another factor for the longer period of time. If it is high for the smaller period of time, then less damage will be there. But if high relative humidity is there for the longer period of time, there will be extensive damage to the photographic images. It will attract the microorganisms, and in photographic images we have the gelatin. Gelatin is a very part of this photographic emulsion. Gelatin used to absorb the moisture, and when gelatin absorbs the moisture, after some time it start dissolving. Gelatin used to do two important things. When mixed with the light sensitive chemicals, it used to increase the sensitivity of this emulsion towards light. Secondly, it works as the binder between the emulsion layer and the surface layer. But when you can very well imagine, when the binder is dissolved, then image will fall from the support layer, the paper layer. So high relative humidity for a longer period of time is very, very dangerous. You can see the effect over there. Low relative humidity is less dangerous, but when the humidity is very low, photographic print used to curl. You can see the fiber paper used to curl very extensively. There is another quality of paper, that is the resin coated paper. It will curl, but curling will be less in comparison of the cellulose fiber. Excessive curl will be there, shrinkage will be there, brittleness will be there. Excessive brittleness will cause separation of the image layer and the support if the relative humidity is too low for a longer period of time. But the low relative humidity is very less harmful for the photographic images. We should always remember it. We all know we have got the different instruments, the thermohygrograph and the environmental meter, by which we can measure the temperature, the relative humidity, the light, and some other parameters. In our homes, I always say that in our homes we have the small museums of the photographic images. The photographic images which are very dear to us, because we are having the collection of our near and dear ones who are not with us now. So those photographic images are must be very precious for that particular person. So I always say that we are having the small museums in our homes also, where we are keeping our family photographs, and we wish to that the longevity of these photographic images should be on the higher side. But The commercial way of keeping the photographs. These days we are keeping the photographs in the plastic sleeves or PVC sleeves. These are not good at all. It contains plasticizers, moisture retained inside. You must have noticed in the rainy season, moisture used to go inside the pocket and there is no exit point. So it will, these are the example of that, and moisture will remain over there and it will cause irreversible damage to your photographic images. Recommended substance or material is polypropylene and the polyethylene sleeves. These are quite safe if we are having the envelope of these, or when we are storing our photographs with the polypropylene or polyethylene. These are quite safe. The older method of keeping the photographs, you must have seen the old photograph with the black pastel paper with the corners. Have you seen it? That is quite safe method, because we are not applying any glue on the surface of the photographs directly, and that black pastel paper is quite safer surface. And as far as keeping of the slides are concerned, these are the assembly. We can insert the slide over here in this groove, it will cover, and you can see this depression. So there may be a circulation of air. The circulation of air is a very, very important thing. As far as color material, especially the color slides could be damaged very, very easily. So very specialized way of keeping the color slide we should evolve. Now for the medium size photographs, we should always use the Solander box. You must have heard of the Solander box. We used to use it for keeping the paintings. We adopted the same way for photographs, and as you know, the Solander box can be open, because when you are having surface like this and keeping photographs and taking out, there may be a possibility of physical damage. But in Solander box, these three sides may be open or flattened, and then the photograph will be kept and it may be closed. So this is very, very important, and these Solander boxes can be kept in a library just like this. Now the enclosures, where the enclosures in which we are keeping our photographic record, it should be anodized aluminum. It may be quality stainless steel enclosures, or steel baked on non-plasticide resin lacquer, steel with ceramic paint. These are some of the ways we can keep. We may use the wooden enclosures, of course, but when we are using the wooden enclosures, we should have the high quality wood, because sometimes what happen, in the storage or in the enclosure we have the mini environment. So I am taking one example. When in rainy season relative humidity is high, so there will be a water content in the atmosphere, in the mini atmosphere in that enclosures. Some of the moisture will be absorbed by the wood itself, so it is good. But if we are using the wooden enclosures, we should not apply any varnish or paint, etc., because the fumes coming from the paint and the varnish are always very, very harmful. That's why if you see the last thing is steel with ceramic paint, not the ordinary paint. Ordinary paint should not be used at all. And for the larger photographs, these drawers, horizontal big drawers, can be used. And these are some of the ways of keeping different materials, but we should always remember wood and wood products. For example, plywood, hardboard, chipboards, straw board, acrylics, these contains plasticizers, solvents, formaldehyde, sulfur and acid. These should not be used for making the storage cabinets of the photographic images. We should always remember it. The specialized storage, what should be the condition of the specialized storage? Temperature should be minus 20 degrees Celsius. relative humidity 20%. These two conditions in combination is a very difficult to achieve. Air purification unit, atmospheric corrosion monitor, disaster management devices. Uh, as far as I know, in our country, we are not having the specialized storage having these conditions. Uh, the Paramount movies in the Hollywood and the NASA lab, they are having these specialized storage conditions. I hope in near future we may be able to have this specialized storage of the photographic images. It is said in the Museum of Art, it was displayed, it is our purpose not only to preserve but to show the pictures we collect. If we are keeping everything in the storage, there is no use of it. If it should be exposed to people so that they may see and learn many things. So display is a very important part. It is true, 100% true. If we are keeping these photographic images in the storage, it will last for longer period of time, but it won't serve any purpose because people won't be able to see. The very purpose of the museum is to display the material the museums are having. So display is a very important role. We'll have to display some time or the other these work of arts. Here we are talking about the photographic images. Display of the photo images. Lighting is very tricky thing. Lighting should be correct and innovative. Here two examples. Some tungsten bulbs were used for illumination, and they were so placed that they are causing reflections on the surface of the photographs. Can you see the reflection on the surface of the photographs? So this is very adverse, I would rather say worst type of lighting, and it is, of course, it is having in the very prestigious institution. So it happens sometimes. The other example, we had an exhibition in an old structure when the roof used to be very high and having the small Roshandans on the surface. So ambient light was coming. There was no artificial light. Ambient light was coming. It's fine. It's a very soft illumination. But at some point of time, the direct sun rays used to come and fall on the photographs. You can see, and this is very dangerous condition because direct sunlight is having the maximum harm to the photographic images. Direct sunlight is having maximum ultraviolet radiation, and ultraviolet radiation is most harmful thing. So these things should be taken care of. Now these are the appropriated lighting condition, and if you see that one, the same light source which were used here were being used there, but they were so placed that they're not causing any sort of reflection on the photographs. And on the lower side, this is the combination of the tungsten light and the daylight. On the roof of the gallery or the museum, they have kept the bulletproof glasses having the ultraviolet filter in it. So they are using the ambient light in combination with the artificial light. That sort of illumination is very soft and uniform. And here in this condition, this is the London Museum, and some small paintings and photographs were displayed in the enclosures, small enclosures having the glass. When you are displaying something in the glass enclosures, lighting is always very tricky. We cannot have the light source inside the enclosures because it will generate heat, so it will further deteriorate. If you are using outside, since the glass is there, glass will cause some sort of reflection and having the hindrance in seeing the specimen in the proper way. So I happened to visit this museum, and I was seeking where is the light source. I was not able to see the light source. Then I saw that some light source were placed over here. You can see one light source, and it was placed to the roof, white roof. And from the roof, light is being reflected, very soft and uniform light was being reflected from the large surface. Uh, when the light is being reflected from the surface, which is in large in color, it will be uniform and very soft in color. So these are some of the innovative ways of lighting the museum objects, different museum objects in the gallery. So lighting is very, very important. Now, when we display a photograph, we always prefer to have the framed, which are having the glass surface. Glass provides the best atmospheric protection to the photograph. But glass should not be in the direct contact of the photograph. There should be a rag tissue or alpha tissue mount which can separate the photograph and the glass. Because if we are not using this mount, what will happen when the relative humidity high, photograph will absorb and it is spanned width way and length way, and it will come in the close contact of the glass. And sometimes in the extreme condition, it used to happen when the relative humidity is low, it will contract and some part of the emulsion will remain stick to the glass in the extreme condition. So photograph should not be in direct contact of the glass, and it should be like this. You all must be knowing this is the proper way of displaying the photograph when framed. We should use the paper material always rag tissue, alpha cellulose material having no lignin in it, because lignin used to absorb moisture from the atmosphere very fast and becomes acidic. Atmospheric condition, relative humidity, temperature, we have already discussed. The oxidizing gases, the pollutants, they also have a very adverse effect on the photographs. The strong pollutants are the sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, and the mild pollutants are oxides of nitrogen, peroxides, formaldehydes, ozone, etc. Paint, varnish, adhesives, rubber-based product should not be used. We should always remember it. Here I am showing you some of the examples. The most common commercial adhesive is the Fevicol. Fevicol is the highly acidic in nature when it's wet in wet condition. And these commercial paste is the hygroscopic. They used to absorb the moisture. This is acidic and having the sulfur compound. A photograph, this is part of the photograph, and with a commercial gum, it was mounted on some thicker mount about 30 or 35 years. And after 30 and 35 years, you can see the area here where the glue was applied is all faded. So sometimes it may take a longer period of time, but it will have the adverse effect. So we should not use the commercial gums. And on this photograph, you can say they can generate some enzymes or the fading of the color or producing of the color. So here the pinkish color was produced with some of reaction of the commercial gum and caused this color on the surface of the photograph. Now there may be many ways. Mounting process should be reversible. We should always remember it should be reversible. Overall pasting is not recommended. Whatever paste we are using, it should not be applied on the whole surface of the photograph. The minimum surface can be thermal pressure sensitive adhesive is recommended, and we can always use the polypropylene sheets. We can sandwich the photograph in the polypropylene, and it should be little bigger on the border side, and we can apply the heat and pressure. So this is, you have protected from the outside agencies, and polypropylene, polyethylene are the quite safe material to keep photograph with it. And our old method of dry mounting tissue, where the butter paper is coated with the shellac, and with the mount and the in between mount and photograph, we keep it we apply pressure and temperature, and it was mounted. It is the reversible process and quite safe. So sometimes the old methods are quite good. We cannot discard the old things abruptly. Light is when we are talking light, when the photographs are in display, light is needed to see the photograph. If there is no light, you cannot see it. But at the same time, we should always remember that light is very harmful. And as I told you, that ultraviolet radiation is very harmful. And the daylight, which is about 300 to 400, 500 nanometer, it is very dangerous. So we should not keep our photographic record in the late daylight, direct sun for the longer period of time. Ultraviolet is the most harmful, we should always remember. Exposure of light is harmful, of course. Damaging effect depends on these factors: spectral characteristics of the light, duration of exposure, intensity of light, the illumination level, susceptibility of the object to light, certain external factors like relative humidity, temperature, and oxygen content in the atmosphere. The recommendation, for example, the ultraviolet radiation, the recommendation is 75 microwatt per lumen. But in the daylight, we have 700 microwatt per lumen. You can compare and imagine how harmful it can be. Tungsten or incandescent light or the halogen lamps, they are quite safe. Filament was heated, and by heating it produces the light and the energy converted in the light. What should be the illumination level for the photographic when the photographs are on display? Again, it's a very tricky thing. The museologists, they recommend the 50 lux, but if you are having 50 lux and go to see the specimens, photographic specimens, it's a very poor light condition to see and appreciate. So some studies were done, and it is suggested that 300, we may go up to 300 if we are displaying the black and white images. But if the color images are on display, up to 150. But you should always remember, the museologists always suggest 50 lux. But I think 50 lux is quite less. We can go little higher. Some of the old methods again. This is the very old method. Quite 10 years back, it happens that in some program, I visited some of the museums of the UK, and I saw that they are still practicing this very old method. A black curtain will be on the specimen. When visitor is there, and if he or she wants to see it, they can lift it, and after seeing, they can drop. So when there is no visitor, and if visitor is not interested to see that thing, light won't affect, light won't fall on our specimen displayed over there. That is a way of lighting. Light source are there, display is there. When visitor come in between, the circuit will be completed and lights will be on. So if there is no visitor, lights will be put off. So these are some of the innovative ways to make the lighting when the photographs are on display. Fading of the color due to the light. These are two examples. The upper one, this color photo was in dark storage under the control condition. The lower one was exposed to the light, fluorescent light. The tube lights is having the a good quantity of ultraviolet. So these tube lights are not good for lighting the photographic images. You can see the difference in both the photographs. Now, that is a photographic surface, a special type of the photographic paper, which is called the resin coated paper. in different materials, if we study, we used to notice the different effects of the different thing. Here, the effect of the light on the resin coated paper only, not on fiber photographic paper, but in resin coated paper. The photograph was framed and displayed, and you can see the portion which was under the frame, this portion, it is not showing any sort of crack, which is because light didn't reach at that portion, but rest of the portion, it is showing you the extensive cracking of the material. So different photographic materials in different conditions, the different deterioration effect will be there. This is one example of that. Now the silvering. This is very, very common in the old negatives and photographs also. Before coming over here, we went into your archives to see some of the glass negatives with Dr. Achal, and we noticed this silvering effect of there. When the silvering effect is there, the negative or photograph will be semi-mirror like effect it will show you. Mostly it is evident in the darker areas. Darker areas means where the deposition of silver is much dense. More evidently seen when picture is examined in raking light. When we move the picture like this, then we can see this silvering effect. In very nutshell, I will tell you the process. It occurs when the silver migrated and form a layer at surface. Air pollution and moisture first oxidizes some of the silver, and this silver ions used to migrate to the surface of the gelatin. When ions come in contact with the atmosphere, they again reduce into the metallic silver. So the excessive metallic silver, it reduces the silver ion, and these silver ions used to come to the surface, and it again reduces in the metallic silver, especially at the area when the deposition of the silver are much, or the blacker area. And this is how the mirroring or silvering, nomenclature is, we can call it silvering or we can call it mirroring also. And it is a sort of irreversible process. I was talking about the resin coated paper. This is the effect. It is called the redox spot, blemishes. This sort of deterioration you can only have in the resin coated papers, not in cellulose fiber based photographic papers. Now, whenever some photographic material is there for conservation or whatever it is, it should be examined thoroughly. Lot of photographs from the army units we had in our laboratory for conservation, and when this is one example, mount was lifted, you can see the extensive micro growth of the microorganism, and it will very harmful for this photograph. The spores will come into the surface of the photograph, and they will start to grow on the surface of photograph in the very short period of time. As far as microorganisms are concerned, it grows in the favorable condition. And what are the favorable condition? High relative humidity and high temperature with some food materials. And in photograph, they have got the fabulous food material in the form of the cellulose fiber and the gelatin. So when the microorganism growth in the primary condition, if you see, that's why I told you the good housekeeping is very, very important. In the periodically one should examine the photographic collection. As far as growth of microorganisms are concerned, when it is in the primary condition, you can notice it, the small spots, it may be black, it may be white, or it may be colored, and this primary condition, it may be cleaned very, very easily. But if you allow this condition to remain as it is for the longer period of time, then the secondary and advanced condition will be there, and then these are the secondary and advanced condition. Now advanced fungal growth shows the filamentary pattern. You can see here the filamentary pattern. They penetrate deep into the emulsion and they generate some of the enzymes which hydrolyze the color dyes. You can see the change of the color, and this is the irreversible. Now you cannot do anything. So if you see the fungal growth is there, it is in primary condition, always clean it. It's very easy to clean it. Do not allow to go further. We did some project. What are the fungus which used to grow on the photographic surfaces in our condition? And we found that this Alternaria alternata and Aspergillus, these are the two common fungi which used to grow in our Indian conditions. And some further examination was done by scan electron microscope, and study showed large number of the spores found on the surface in the infected material, which were not seen by the naked eye. And it was said, I read somewhere, that if there is a fungal growth on the photographic surface, ultimately they will make a minor cracks into the emulsion. And in the electron microscope, we observed that there are some micro cracks in the emulsion in the fungal affected photographic material. Then insects, termites, silverfishes and cockroaches these are the common insect which can harm our photographs. On the upper side, these are the cockroaches affected. They have eaten the gelatin, and when the gelatin was eaten, the emulsion is gone off from the photographic surface. This is the very good food for the insects. And I have told you the gelatin and cellulose is the very good food for insects too. What may be the precautions? Most important is environment should be inhospitable to the microorganism. We should not allow the microorganism to grow. We should not provide them the favorable condition. What are these conditions? The control RH, temperature, and no food material should be there. A regular checkup is very, very important of the photo images. And when we notice that there is some infected photographic material by the microorganism, we should always separate it out as fast as we can. Otherwise, they may infect the other material also. And that's why a good housekeeping is very, very important. What treatment? Again, should not allow microorganism to grow. We should not provide the hospitable or favorable condition. A solution of ammonia and rectified spirits were used for cleaning of the black and white negatives. We practiced in our lab. This is very effective. But again, I'll say that this is the expert's work. We should not try this at home. And wash the photo image in 1% solution of the high amine 1600, that is the benzothenium chloride. This is the fungicide, and the higher concentration may be used as the insecticide. Fungicide for color images, zinc flowsilicate were used in the older times, and this sulfuryl fluoride. But this these all things are very poisonous. These are not recommended at all. And if we had to use it, in the experts only can use it. In the present time, the most favorable thing is the nitrogen gas flushing method. Creating oxygen-free environment is recommended. We create an environment when there is no oxygen, no living being or the insect or the microorganism, whatever it is. It is said there are some microorganisms which can live without oxygen, but the microorganisms which grow on the photographic material, fortunately, cannot sustain without oxygen. So this nitrogen gas flushing method is very suitable and important. This procedure is for producing and maintaining a reduced oxygen atmosphere, as I have told you. Replace air with the inert gases like nitrogen. Use of oxygen scavenger. Commercially you can find it, the ageless Z is the mixture of the moist iron, ferrous oxide and the potassium chloride. This is a very effective method for as far as microorganisms and the insect are concerned on the surface of the photographic material. I have don't go in the digital sort of preservation. Some of the material, some tips. In the very beginning I told you that we should always remember that when we talk about the archival photographic images, these digital images are not at all archival images. It may vanish at any time, we never know it. So when we talk about the archival photographic images, it is cellulose, gelatin, silver prints only. But these days this is the digital era. The analog photographic process is antique now. Nobody is using it. Digital technology is there, and we will have to move with the technology. Technology is playing important role everywhere. Why not in photography? But that is some advantage and disadvantage altogether. And some tips I'll be sharing with you. Should always make at least 2 files and store these files at the different places. This is one method. CD and DVDs are prone to scratches, fingerprints and all types of physical damage. We should always remember it. CDs are more favorable than the DVD, and when we are writing the CD, we should always prefer to write at the slow speed. When slow speed writing is there, the writing is more deeper. And most of these CDs and DVDs are having the aluminum surface, but some say that they used to manufacture the CDs and DVD having the gold layer. And of course gold is the precious metal, and if the CDs and DVDs are gold layered, the longevity is obviously very long. Magnetic media is not failure proof. We should always remember it. Physical damage or exposure to a strong magnetic field will ruin all the recorded data. For extended storage, for example, when we talk about the 100 years, digital storage media is not suitable at present. Maybe in the future we may come up. It is always, I have told you, that 2 files, but for the very safe, we may have 4 or 5 files in different formats and different places. These are the ways some of the archives of the world keeping the digital images with them. And a very big problem is ever-changing operating system and the storage devices. With the time, these devices are there are very rapid changes in it. So sometimes the storage material we are having for about 10 years old, we may not be able to open with the present operating system. So this is one of the major difficulty with the digital images. I have discussed many things, but 2 main important common causes are there. The ignorance, when we don't know what is harmful for our material, and other is negligence. We know, but we don't act. These are the 2 factors, very important. And the real protection comes, I have discussed many things, but the real protection comes when we learn to love something. When we love something, we used to take good care of it. So we have to learn to love whatever cultural heritage we are having, and we should realize the value of it. These are very valuable. जब हमको लगता है कि कोई चीज़ बहुत कीमती है तो हम उसका ज़्यादा ध्यान रखते हैं. So we should love it and we should realize the value of it. Then we will be able to take good care of it. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you.